If anybody who hasn't been in a combine or a tractor, find one. Those farmers are more than welcome to normally educate, and that's the great thing about our industry. Yeah.
This is the part that I talked about it last time we recorded a podcast. That the people is what makes this industry what it is.
Sure. So welcome back to another episode of the Agriculture Podcast. Today we're in Louisville, Kentucky at Freedom Hall. We're in the booth with Brandon Hunt, and we're going to be talking about a Case Combine today. If you hadn't been hiding under a rock, Case is releasing one of the largest production combines in the world right now. Yeah. And I think is this week the release week. So
we've been. Yeah, right, Ryan. We've been working to launch this thing for a long time, and now it's finally kind of come to fruition. Yeah.
So I'm also joined in the booth by Chris Larson of Case AF and Ryan Cole, and I'm going to let them tell just a little bit about their background and what they do with Case.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Chris Larson. I work for Case AF in the Combine Group. It's called the Global Product Specialist, so I take care of kind of the vision and the future of our Combine product line, and really look after the global aspects from Europe to Australia to Brazil to, of course, one of our key markets in North America. So I've been doing that a couple of years now. I've been with the company nearly 20 in various roles, from tech support all the way up through planting and seeding and tillage tools and precision farming. And then just as a hobby, we farm about 2,200 acres in Northeast Iowa that I take care of with my brother and my mom. And in general, just have a true passion and love, like Brandon and you two, for farming, agriculture, and especially red iron. I love it, and I get up every morning and get to play with brand new combines. What's better than that?
What's better than that? So Chris is a busy guy. If he's got 2,200 acres, and he's also trying to manage Case North America. we have a pretty busy individual on our hands here. Ryan, tell us a little bit about you.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm the North American Harvesting Marketing Manager with Case. So I get to take all of the hard work that's been done on the back end by our product validation teams and engineering teams and come out and show it off at events like this. So I've been with Case for about 12 years now, various roles between that, but definitely enjoying the harvesting role right now. It's big time for Case AF.
It is really cool stuff happening.
Combines are one of the coolest things that exist in agriculture.
Yeah.
And I know I've been eat up with them since I was just, it takes a special individual to want to be on a combine, but to be able to take a standing crop and process that from where it's attached to the ground to separating and having a finished product come out of an auger and the discharge go out the back is just, it's always been a modern marvel. And it's pretty exciting that we're getting to have a pretty big deal here with the Case AF line.
Yeah, and it's not only from just being able to do that with one crop, but it does it with hundreds of them. Absolutely. Quite frankly. I mean, we might be used to the wheat and the corn and the soybeans from the greater Midwest, but I mean, you talk about edible beans, the beans that go into your chili, right. For example. We harvest them with combines, and your grass seeds that you might be growing, and you look out your window and you see grass. And rice for sure. Yeah, you open your box of rice at home. That didn't come from just the store. It came from a field normally in our Delta region that harvests it with combines, and it has to have a special set of wear components because it's very abrasive and can wear a machine out in hundreds of acres. Absolutely. And it's, like I said, it's throughout the globe. So that's been the cool part for at least me with the company, is getting to combine wheat in France and barley in Hungary and more wheat in Germany and those kinds of things, and just see the expansion of the product line into those areas too.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, really, the how large of a footprint Case AF has. It's in almost every country that grows grain.
Mm-hmm. They really are, and it's needed, And we still build, little ones too, because they're not all of this size that you're seeing today at the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville. We build the little ones that many. Brandon and maybe I and yourself grew up with are still being built. The size of what you might think of the 1460s of yesteryear. They're not their exact same form, but they're of the same
close.
capacity,
Right.
which is normally, we talk about the most important thing for a combine is being able to get the crop through it.
So tell us a little bit about the new combine, because I know everybody's dying to know about it.
And just before we start, so if one of our listeners isn't of agriculture, this is going to be a comparable combine to your X9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So anything that we do on these podcasts, Neil's the green guy, and I'm the red guy.
There you go.
So,
Yeah,
so
yin and
this is
yang.
going to be a direct competition to his X9 machine.
So everybody's going to be like, "Well, I thought you were green." But I'd just like to tell everybody that I have much love in my heart for Case as well, and we appreciate what they do in agriculture as a leader in the industry.
Yeah.
So if you do watch my Instagram and my social media, we do run an X9, which was currently the biggest machine until Case come with the one-upper. So tell us a little bit about the new machine. So
I don't know, Ryan, you're the one launching it out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, what are some of the keys?
You kind of hit on it. Competition with the X9 and really looking into that larger capacity machine. So as Chris mentioned, we have an entire lineup to fit really any producer, any crop size. But moving into looking, doing it more acres in less hours and sometimes with less manpower. Obviously, an issue facing agriculture all around today is the inability sometimes to find labor. So being able to run more crop through that machine in less time is something that's a necessity for most of our producers.
So how long has this combine been like the works for? Y'all kept it pretty quiet.
Well, I think that's a little bit of a loaded question there. The production starts probably before we launched the last one. It's an ongoing process, and going out and talking to producers, and ultimately the goal is to find whatever that next issue is or that next challenge,
Sure.
and solve it with our iron and our technology.
Yeah. So I can't really even give you a date to that, Neil. It's a timeline that just continues, and you're always kind of looking for that next piece. And as Brandon mentioned, it's a whole bunch of components coming together all in once in harmony to try to literally just take grain from a plant and put it in the bin, and the bad stuff goes out the back. So there's all these pieces of this. It's not trying to give it just more horsepower and it goes.
Sure.
It's about can we get more out of our feeder so we make sure that when it gets to the rotor that it's delivered perfectly so it can thresh it, separate it, out with the bad, stay with the good, and then get it clean. So all those pieces, really working together is in constant development. It's not like, we're just going to do this. We started yesterday, and Brandon, by Friday, you're going to have a whole combine.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the way it works.
So really, and really so much on a combine, it's really developmental, and I'll speak this a little bit
You
just
bet.
because I do quite a bit of testing.
Yeah.
Those components are developed, kind of on purpose on a specific component to put a whole package together like the new combine.
Yeah.
So it really isn't just a one-time, hey, we're going to roll out a brand new machine and go to the field. Those components have been ever evolving, as a feeder house, as a slip clutch and a gearbox, or component-wise, to go in and take and put that machine together.
So just to give a little background to the non-farm listener.
Yeah.
So traditionally, combines were straw worker machines when they didn't have a tube rotor in them.
Yeah.
And International and then Case International was one of the first machines that had a single tine separation. And so what that is a tube rotor. With the Case system, it has a couple of ears on the front that lay the crop down and bring it through the separating system out the back. And traditionally, Case combines have had one rotor in them. The New Holland machine has traditionally had two rotors, and then Deere came with an X9, a really high capacity machine that had two rotors. And so this new combine, I understand, has two rotors as well. So speak to that just a little bit.
Hey guys, Clayton here. I'm interrupting your podcast right now to tell you about my media company, Atlas Media Solutions, that makes this podcast possible, as well as all the Denton Farms media happen. So I'm going to play a quick ad real quick that I put together. It doesn't really explain that much, but it does sound pretty cool. So I'm going to let you guys listen to that, and afterwards I'll explain to you what the business is all about. Spend enough time on the internet these days, you start to realize there's a lot of people who don't really understand where their food comes from, what's going on. I figured, hey, rather than complaining about this problem that I feel like the agriculture industry is facing, I should do something to fix it. My name is Clayton Lind. The purpose of this business is to do one thing: serve agriculture. Thanks for listening to that, guys. I won't spend too much time explaining what Atlas Media Solutions is, but Atlas Media Solutions is my media marketing company that 100% exists just to serve agriculture. A lot of my time is spent on the road or on a plane, traveling around the country, producing high quality media material for different ag businesses. And so if you guys want to learn more, please feel free to check out our website or follow me on Instagram. But we just wanted to kind of plug this to let you know that because of this business that I run, it allows all of this stuff with Neil and the YouTube channel to happen in the first place. And so as long as we are sponsor free, I will continue to tell you that this podcast is brought to you by Atlas Media Solutions, and we are proud to say that we are here 100% to serve agriculture. So that's spiel, guys. I'll let you get back to the podcast. Enjoy. Thanks.
Yeah, so first transition for Case IH into a dual rotor machine, and as Chris mentioned before, really looking to tie the entire package together. So, matched capacity throughout the machine, and trying to get some of that larger threshing and separating areas was the ultimate goal to move there.
Yeah.
And traditionally, with a single, has been a really solid system for, say, corn and soybeans. The coarse grains of the center part of our United States, which normally, when you look at what that has to do, we have a very small area for threshing, and that's the part. If you were to take a piece of grain and you rub it between your hands, that's threshing, and then getting it to separate out is normally the bigger challenge, is to get the bad stuff away from the good stuff. So, like, if you're to kind of rub your hands together and some of the stuff falls out and you keep the grain in your hand, that's kind of what that's doing. And when you get into smaller grain type situations, it just takes so much more separation, and in many cases a lot more hard. You got to hit harder with threshing.
Sure.
And that additional capacity that two rotors get you, when you are really asking and trying to shove 50 even more material through. We're at a test run for National Farm Machinery Show.
Yeah, so we're at the National Farm Machinery Show, and they're actually doing test pulls in here. So if you heard a motor boosting up, there you go.
Yeah.
Competition starts tonight.
Yeah.
Couple tractors wanted to take a chat and make sure everything was right before tonight.
Good way to lose a train of thought, isn't it?
Yeah. Luckily, we didn't hear a bang or something like that. It sounded like
Pretty peaceful.
So go on.
Yeah, sure. So what that does, it really kind of complements our need, in those small grains, and really, giving that extra boost probably in capacity for our corn and soybean growers. Sure. Yeah.
Go through a little bit of the specifics on it. So it's a whole new platform essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the combine, go ahead, Brandon. What was your?
Well, just go into kind of some of the specifics, kind of comparing it to what's out there today, which would be a 9250. Mm-hmm. What are we looking at going forward with 10 and 11 class combines?
Yeah. So go ahead, Ryan. What's your
normal? Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see some changes to, well, I guess the other thing we're launching here this week, which we hadn't touched on, is our new corn head. So obviously moving to that larger capacity machine, we need to feed that machine. Moving to that larger header, whether for corn headers or for our grain producers, our draper headers, pulling that into the machine and getting it through our feeder house, as Chris mentioned, into the dual rotors for threshing and separating, down into a larger cleaning system, and then moving it all the way through grain handling. So up through the elevator into a 567 bushel grain tank, and then out the unload auger. So up to 6 bushels per second, be able to unload, and ultimately decreasing the amount of time it takes to move that crop through and get it out of the field.
Yeah. Get into some specifics about the inside of the machine, how much cleaning capacity it has, and rotor capacity. Get into some of the hardcore numbers that really make that thing shine as a Case IH combine.
Yeah.
We're still able to call it, I guess we're not able to call it axial flow anymore.
It is an axial flow combine. Absolutely. Amen, brother.
All right,
we're there.
Tell me the axial flow numbers. I need to know.
Yeah. So As Ryan mentioned, heads getting bigger, right? We're displaying a 16-row head, and those that aren't familiar, obviously corn, when we pick that, it has a specific head to it, so it's only pulling off that ear, not these ears, but the ear of corn, and pulling it off and bringing it in, and then a wider, normal straight cut head and 50-foot drapers. And, there's even bigger ones, of course, being developed and looked at for this machine.
I think I saw something about a 72 this week, maybe?
I haven't specifically seen that, but I can confirm 60 at least.
I saw something on the internet. I saw something that if it's on the internet, it has to be true. I think
it's got to be true.
Of course, 100% of the
knows
things on the
that's
internet
true.
are true.
Yeah. If you've heard it on a podcast or on the web, it's true, folks. So
those are really big headers. A 60 is a really
that's
big
a really
header.
big head. 50's big. So with all of that, you're getting a lot more capacity, and you're talking probably at least 30% more within that rotor threshing area to complement all of that coming into you. And that is the same thing in feeder and same thing as in your cleaning system as far as sizes and abilities. When you look at really the cleaning system, it's a bit different than what you see today, Brandon, like on your 9250s, in that today, we take that cleaning system, and if you don't know what that means, a cleaning system, it's as the crop and the mat falls off of the rotors and out of the rotors, it falls onto basically a fingered pan, basically, with air blowing up through the bottom of it. And as it shakes, because it's also shaking and air blowing, the heavy stuff falls through and the light stuff goes out the top. And that can be the real bottleneck of a combine, especially one that has a lot of capacity going through it. So a lot of air, a lot of surface area is needed to spread out, this crop mat of 50 to 100 bushel wheat, and you're clipping along at 20, 30, 40 acres an hour. You're just getting a lot done. So cleaning systems gotten bigger, and actually there's for this machine has two separate kind of cleaning systems in it. There's a front and a rear. Today in your combine, you might know as a pre-sieve area, which is a initial blast of air that comes off, and that clean grain there goes straight into our clean grain auger, and then it goes off. And it actually gives capacity to do a little bit more finite level of cleaning at the backside, where you have a top sieve where big stuff falls through, and then you have another lower sieve, of course, and that goes then straight into clean grain. And then finally it tails off into tailings at the end, so we get another chance at it to clean it. Well, this combine has a front and lower upper sieve, and that goes into a totally separate clean grain auger.
Oh, wow.
So there's two clean grain augers under this in order to feed and get rid of this grain. Because typically, as grain falls off of our pan, that's the best opportunity of the most capacity out of the machine. If you can clean it right there, up to 60% of our grain actually, as it falls off there, goes to clean grain.
Wow.
So then at the end, we just got to finite clean the rest of it, and then the rest dumps into tailings, and we can control that better. So then you have the normal top and lower sieves of today that goes into the normal clean grain auger. So two clean grain augers, we doubled that really to feed our new really enormous clean grain elevator. The thing's massive. A little hidden today on the show because we haven't opened the panels up. There's still some work to be done, but I mean we're tracking around that 10,000 bushels an hour capacity for that. We don't have, I don't think, heads and things to quite feed that yet. But that tells you a little bit about the future.
Yeah, we're going to produce it to where you have to have it anyway. Farmers,
you bet you are. I mean, you bet you are.
As close as I am to the Case AF brand, that's one part that I see on the farmer side that's the struggle is we're gaining faster than you all almost know how to react. Yeah. So having a ceiling higher than where we are today is extremely important in manufacturing, and especially my red combine. So I'm glad, I'm happy to hear that. What kind of work went into the back end of that combine? We're talking about gaining so much more stuff in and processing so much. What about residue distribution?
Sure, yeah, that's a big, huge deal, right? I mean, I came from the tillage world and planting world, and that crop mat coming out the back is really important as we get to the the season.
You can really love or hate a combine guy.
You dang right
you're
you can.
a tillage or a planter.
Oh.
I know when we started working on the 2000 series planter, that was the first time I was like, guys, we got to get to work with the combine guys because we're not doing a good enough job to make this planter run.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
We have went back and fixed things and made massive advancements. That's on top of we're making that crop harder to process at the farmer level, which makes that residue distribution extremely, extremely important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and a few things with that. I mean, we talked obviously wider headers. first and foremost,
More throughput.
first and foremost, we got to be able to spread that crop. So there's more material coming through, and we got to not spread the crop, spread the residue throughout. Second off, we've got radar spread automation on this, so it'll actually be an automated system that senses that crop and can make adjustments to our residue spreading system to make sure that we're getting that even crop mat. And to your point, setting up for whatever the next operation is. If we're
So is
going
that
silage
inside
or
Harvest
direct
Command
planting.
now?
It's not actually part of Harvest Command. It's its own automated system.
Yep. It's kind of one of the third stages of automation in the combine. So a lot more technology being built in from that standpoint. And you'll still see the more typical chopper system. Of course, inside as the crop comes out of the rotors, the residue does. We'll still be able to chop it and get it into a smaller pieces and fines. And as Ryan mentioned, we can hit that 50 foot width to make sure that when we're planting that next year, we're able to go at 10 miles an hour or whatever speed we can go at, and make sure that we get,
So let's talk
even
a
temperature.
little bit more about the technology. So Harvest Command, for people that don't know, is automation inside of a Case AF11 Combine. I was on the ground level of running that too, so I'm pretty partial to it. It is a remarkable piece of technology that really made combines, no matter the brand. John Deere has their version of what they consider to be automation, and Harvest Command is Case AF's. But really, that really moved the needle on how that combine performs in maximizing what it can do and do it better than we can do it. I mean, Neil and I have been running combines since we were, able to go. I mean, I've been running I think I sat in a 1680 when I was like 12 and ran it. So how far, we know how to run a combine, but we can't always see. And they've done such a good job now of quieting them down. We can't feel what we used to feel. I used to run a 1680 off the floorboard.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You knew you had to be in tune with that floorboard, because if you didn't, you was fixed to be putting rotor belts in, and that was not a fun job, and especially in June cutting wheat. It was terrible.
Hot.
So how far we've come from that, and how the technology has made even me, that I've been running a combine my whole life, a better operator, because we can take that technology and see things that we can't see sitting in the seat. And Case AF has done a phenomenal job of making that Harvest Command automation inside these combines just really take it to the next level. So speak a little bit to it and how the technology is really gained, other than what I'm sitting here banner waving for, because I know it at my level, but I don't get to see everybody that you guys see. How's that really up the game, and what's it doing for this AF11 Combine?
So I think not just for the AF11 Harvest Command, we've got across the 250 series as well, and we just moved it into the 160 series combines this last year. I think you hit on a few points there. One, I mean, your seasoned operator, how often were you getting out to make adjustments to the combine when you were in tune with it?
After that first day, you pretty much can run it.
Yeah, and how often are field conditions changing?
More than they need to.
Absolutely. So when you have a system that goes through and makes those changes constantly throughout the day, I mean, from first cutting in the morning to after dark, when conditions can change fairly drastically, it's watching that all day long and optimizing that combine. And really, the inputs are you turn it on, you select your crop type, and you select what mode you want to run in, and you're off to the races. And you can fine tune that as much as you want or as little as you want to get that operation out. So there's benefit to the seasoned operator, as well as saying, hey, look, I have somebody who maybe has never operated before, and I'm running multiple machines. I need to drop them in and go off and do something else.
Which has become important to me as the workforce we're taking at the farm level today are generationally removed from the farm. That combine operation isn't as natural as it is for our generation.
Sure.
So we're taking new operators and training them up, and that automation is really, I think, taking some pressure off, making sure that combine's doing optimally what it can do, and probably keeping its throughput past maybe the operator's comfort level, because it's safe and it's running the way it needs to run to make us happy as owners and employers. But I think from my perspective, one of the things it did for me is that grain sample is so important, and the quality of that grain sample is so important, and what I can do to put more throughput through that machine may not always be as beneficial to the grain sample.
For sure.
But really what I've been able to do is by running automation, and we'll call it AI when we got cameras and sensors and things that are looking for us today, it's really magnified that it's really got that gap really close to where I can shove as much through that thing as I can and keep that grain sample as pristine that we need. It's drastically important in the marketplace when we go sell our end product.
Sure, it's critical too to the cost of the machines are so high that we need to keep those things running at peak efficiency, and the systems like you are developing there is what's keeping those machines able to be super efficient in the field.
Yeah. What's been really interesting throughout the last couple of years is we, put machines in the hands of customers that are still maybe in our test fleet. Not necessarily, and Brandon, you've certainly been a part of this in some cases, but, the thing I found that was interesting was many customers may or may not be pressing their combine as fast or as hard as they can. They're pushing it maybe as hard and fast as they're comfortable, and maybe even a little less to make sure that they're making sure they take care of the combine. As you mentioned, it's a very, very expensive machine. You're going to trade, for hundreds of thousands of dollars and as much as a house for some of us or some of them that may not be very familiar with ag. But, pressing it, as you mentioned, as hard as you can and using a system like a max throughput strategy where it presses the combine to a speed or an engine load that the combine is at. And it's uncomfortable for some of these guys. It's been very eye-opening for some of them. We had a customer this fall we ran with that, he couldn't understand why, it hit 4.5 miles an hour immediately when he presses automation start and feed rate, because we also can control the ground speed of the machine. And he didn't quite understand what was going on. And like, well, you're up against the limit of your speed that you have set. There's more capacity there. And okay. So he sets it at 5, and off the combine goes, boom, it pegs right to 5 miles an hour. It's like, well, why did it do that? It's like, because you have more capacity. It's saying it can do more and keep the level of quality that you're looking for. So that was just an interesting thing that I found. I think, I'm sitting, in front of some pretty exceptional operators of combines, but also it's brought those that are very good farmers. And I'd even take like my father, who's been gone for a while now, but he did, or your grandfather that really, was conservative.
Taught me how to run a combine.
Taught you. Yeah, absolutely. And may or may not have been pressing or understanding everything that was going on with this machine and has brought them up to another level of productivity.
I think we as farmers, we get so involved in like finance or grain markets or whatever that a lot of us just take the machine to the field and run it. Yeah. And even if we spend lots of hours on it, a lot of times we're not researching properly the exact ways.
You're on this thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody's on
this
social
phone,
media and looking at whatever, their bank account or what the grain markets are doing that day. So, that's another reason it's so vitally important on a machine that size to have assisted or completely automated systems.
Yeah. It's as much a cab as it is a mobile office for all of the other things that need to be done during harvest.
Yeah. So, like the other technology pieces of the new combine, we mentioned some radar spread technology, which is absolutely critical. I think you'll love it because it's really going to be able to reach the spread widths, and when we get like a crosswind of some sort, it'll be able to correct and shove more residue out, and increase speeds. But from the Harvest Command standpoint, we actually have placed in a couple more sensors in the cleaning system. So we actually in the Case IH combines today have pressure sensors that are measuring the amount of airflow through our cleaning system. As I mentioned, you're blowing air through it, and we measure the mat and how much crop is on top of that just by those air sensors. And we can tell you if you're underloaded or overloaded, and if you're overloaded, you're probably dumping. And so what we've done though is added 2 more sensors up in the front of the machine, and up near the grain pan. And what that allows us to do actually is with our cleaning system, instead of tipping it like what we used to do, we're actually able to side shake it.
Oh wow!
So instead of just shaking normally at a cleaning system, we used to tip it and shake it to get it to level off if it was uneven. Well, this system is actually taking technology from our 150 series combines and side shaking it in the Crossflow Plus cleaning system, we call it. And what that does is if for whatever reason you're on a side hill and material's coming off and dumping on the right side, it can measure the airflow difference on the right side versus left side and say, all right, grain pan, I need to shake you this way in order to get the mat even, so when it dumps onto the cleaning system, the middle of the cleaning system is the most efficient area. It has the most air. That's where you want the heaviest mat if you're going to have a heavy mat. So you get it to in the middle, and then you're still tipped. Well, then it can use the back sensors and actually measure the airflow there and continue to shake it sideways. So by the time you get really all done and complete, you have an even mat, and you're maximizing the capabilities of the cleaning system. The more you get it built up on one side, the less efficient you are, the more likely you have losses, and eventually, just lack of inefficiency. And it does all automatically. It knows that it needs to balance it. So Neil, just get in the combine, go on the side hill, and it'll do it for you. And then from there, actually, as it dumps out of there and goes into the clean grain elevator, we've got a camera, of course, and Brandon mentioned this, but now we'll be able to actually see that sample. You'll be able to actually see inside your combine on your screen and look and see what the sample looks like. Is it cracked? Is it broken? Is there cobs? Is there leaves?
Sure.
And potentially make an adjustment to your machine with saying it's good or bad, and it does it.
Which I think, that's critical now because, like you said, we're on our cell phones and the radio's going off. And if you're just moving through the field, just trying to get the field out, and you hadn't made the right adjustment, and your tank's full of chaff, and then it goes into the bin, then you've got problems in the bin later.
Oh, yeah, man.
These type of innovations are just amazing to me, and just push the farm so far forward.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And it gives you a lot of that instant monitoring and, in fact, some alarms. How many times you guys harvested? I've had this where you plug the cleaning fan or you get grain in there and you unload it and you get this, a stream of chaff out your unloading auger. And, there's a lot of systems that will help protect that and get that clean sample like we're looking for.
I'd like to point out, I heard you say about the 560 bushel capacity of the grain tank. Isn't that what it was?
567. Yeah.
567. So people always ask me, what makes the X9 efficient? And I think this is a big part of it, is a humongous unloading capacity and a huge amount to carry on the machine. So the machine can basically take 2 bins and load a semi. And so the grain cart pulls up, gets his first load, waits on the second. When he dumps the second time, the semi can leave the field. And it increases humongous levels of efficiency for the farmer. I think that it's overlooked in, when people are looking at capacity, they don't realize how much just that alone will gain them. So the humongous machine, big head, gaining in capacity, but that ability to carry so many bushels and then be able to dump it so fast.
Yeah, if that can get you down to the end of the field and back or whatever that looks like. Ultimately, until that grain is in the bin or wherever its final destination is, you need to make sure logistically all of that works. And faster unload rate and larger grain tank will help get you there.
Yeah, one of the cool things I've seen so far, and actually, Ryan, I think you might have been there. Or we did some benchmarking in Indiana in a half-mile long field, which not every field's the same. Don't get me wrong, but generally a half mile is kind of a common distance size of a field that you might see if you're looking for a common one. And what we found with this combine we have a 16-row head, 567. You're in 250 bushel corn. That's generally 2 acres in a run of half mile with 16 rows, just a shade over. So you're looking at just over 500 bushels in that run. So that means I can make it all the way to the other end, and I don't have to. And for those that don't know, you normally today you have to stop halfway through, back up, cut in, knock over corn, waste time. You're talking minutes, which you're already clipping along, at 8, 10, 9, 10 feet a second. Yeah. So every second goes by, that's less you're doing. Now we can make it all the way to the end, turn around, come on, grain cart driver, get under me, let's do this, and we're heading to the other end.
It's a huge deal. I don't think people, or I never realized it when I was running smaller combines and cutting out all the time, how much time in a day that takes out of your day. And then every time you cut a land out, you have to do it again. Yeah. So this combine is going to solve that issue.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and you mate that all together. It makes it fun. Right, guys? Oh, yeah. Combining is fun. And the new row guidance system that we're putting on that'll just guide you around any corner, basically straight as an arrow. One thing I think I see some of us overlook sometimes is the use of our planter lines. So this technology is all connected from front to back, from planting to harvest. Just importing our guidance lines from planting in to help us cut our lands. This is fully capable of doing that, just making it that much more efficient instead of sitting there looking, trying to find that guess row when I screwed up planting. Yeah. It's just so much more efficient.
Reduces harvest loss too, because anytime an operator is pulling to the left or right on the corn row and the corn's not feeding in there straight, you're head shattering more. So technology that's taking care of the head shatter as well.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. More grain in the bin. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. And I think the capabilities of this machine can give us that and really reduce our losses. I mean, that's if you look at the total cost of ownership of a combine. Obviously, you have the repairs and the time and all of that. But the biggest thing that we can do is just be a little bit more careful and delicate with how we set our combine, which Harvest Command can help us do and reduce our losses.
Yeah.
That's a big piece that often gets overlooked.
It is. On these big machines with huge capacities, over the course of the life of the machine, if he's spilling out 2 or 3 bushels of soybeans, I mean, and he's harvesting a couple thousand acres a year, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So help make that payment.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Help make that
Absolutely.
payment. Yeah, and this will be interesting. I don't know what you guys think, but this time frame as we're moving in, to $4, corn, that range. It'll be interesting to see because, there's opportunities I think with this machine as I see reducing fleets, and this isn't anything we haven't seen before. I mean, this trend of a larger machine has been going on since we started building machinery. All right, I mean, since the first guy hit the rock with the hammer to chisel out their name, we found different ways to do this and get better and faster. And that consolidation of machines probably continues. I mean, that's what this is going to lead to, and it has already. And that efficiency again, I mean, can probably pay for the machine, over time, for sure.
For sure. So I just got one more question, and I know you're busy and need to get on to other things, but I'm just curious, how far out are we, do you think, of full automation, where either the operator is on there and he's riding, but he's not doing anything, or the operator's not on there at all? And I know that's $1 million question, but kind of in your mind, what do you see? Like, will we see it in this decade?
Boy, there is a lot of baggage that comes with automation. It is a fascinating thing. It is a truly incredible technology if we can do it. I mean, I've been in Arizona, Phoenix, you've driven around, all of a sudden a car goes by and there's no driver in it. Yeah. Okay, but there's so much more that happens on these machines than just, we can make these things drive without a driver.
Yeah.
That's been proven, and we can do it. A number of years ago, we displayed a tractor without a cab. That thing works and it runs.
Yeah.
It's the problem of everything that the eyeballs of the operator has, the Brandon, the 20, 30, 40 years of knowledge and operation and knowing what you're looking for, finding that rock, finding that down spot of wheat or whatever it might be, is the real hard part. And that's the thing that we probably struggle with the most, I think. This decade, I don't know. I just think that technology and that trust and that work and that safety, if I could say that word, is a ways out.
Yeah.
I don't know what my counterparts would say, but I think that the technology for sure is being worked on.
Right.
I'll tell you that I think manufacturer has been looking at this as the next wave. We know the trends of people and their abilities, but I don't know. And that's probably more Farmer Chris talking right there, with a little bit of company, but it's just there's a lot that goes into it, Neil.
Yeah. And I think you see the progression there in Harvest Command, in automating things like the cleaning system, moving to the residue. There's progression towards that, but yeah, I'm with you. I don't know how. There's a lot to do before we get to full autonomy.
Yeah, I mean, and there's other things being worked on too, like you mentioned with Harvest Command. We're taking little pieces of it that help benefit us along the way. Everybody wants to jump to when can I just sit in my lawn chair and have a bush light and start doing stuff out there? Like, all right, hold on. But it's little pieces. As we look at grain cart automation, trying to reduce the number of operators and keep the skilled guys like you guys in the field that know what to do, know how to handle it. But instead of trying to find the 16-year-old that can drive a grain cart, I can just say, "Come here, grain cart." Yeah, that kind of stuff is probably a little closer.
Right.
But full automation, oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. There is something to be said for a real human in any task. I mean, they can just problem solve
That's right.
things that machines can't. So
Yeah,
If-
yeah. And plus, you take all the fun out of it.
you do. I mean, that is
What
the
the hell?
fun part.
That's the best
I
part.
was about to ask if you were ready to get out of the cabin.
no,
I don't know. I don't
no,
think
no.
the
I'm not.
No, you have no idea. If anybody who hasn't been in a combine or a tractor, find one.
They are
Those farmers are more than welcome to normally educate, and that's
All
the
right.
great thing about
that
our
buddy
industry,
seat's there for a reason.
That's right.
It is.
All right, I want each one of you to pick the one thing that you're the most excited about out of the new combine. Brian, you can go first.
I can only pick one, right?
Pick one. Pick one and why.
Well, let's see. And this may be a little bit long-winded, but I think there's advantages. I mean, we talk larger class machines, and there's obviously other manufacturers. It was mentioned earlier moving into the X9, and this is the competition for that. And I think there's advantages to coming on the market when we are, and being able to see what it is our producers are looking for from the machines that we offer and from other machines that have been out there, and really diving into that and being able to provide the solutions across the board from both the capacity and the throughput and the technology that our producers need. I'm excited about that and to see that hit the market and get into more of our customers' hands.
Yeah. Number one, capacity of this machine. I think if you've never combined or tried to combine corn at 7-8 miles an hour, it's a thrill. It's terrifying.
16 rows.
Yeah, 16 rows, 40 feet wide is terrifying, but exciting all at the same time because it's so much coming at you. Not that you have to, but it's certainly capable of doing that. And it's just seeing that much corn come in all at once. And that's the farmer in me, probably.
Leave it to the Iowa guy to talk about corn.
Corn all the time, I know. But still, even that with wheat and small grains and soybeans, I mean, it's the number 2 crop in the country. It just can do it, and it's got so much, and it does so much in so little time, and it's just impressive and exciting, and my favorite part.
And I'm not from Iowa, but there's nothing like shelling corn.
There really is.
We're from Kentucky. Yeah. Corn is my favorite.
Yeah.
It might not make me the greatest return on my investment, but I love raising corn better than anything.
All my employees are like, after the corn's done, they're like, we got to go to beans. You know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
They feel like they're sitting around all the time.
Yeah, soybeans. If you like harvesting soybeans, you're either an idiot or you're a liar. Probably a liar.
I don't even have to cut soybeans. I go plant wheat.
Yeah. No, that's the best part. So, and just being able to do that much in that little time, and yeah, I don't know.
So, any last thoughts?
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you guys for the invite. What you guys are doing for agriculture in this type of space and educating and talking to everybody to help bring together the knowledge is really remarkable and admirable. Thank you for the time. I think from Case IH's standpoint and even from the farmer standpoint, it's really trying to find those next steps and stages of productivity that we can reach for. And, with the launch of the 715, the launch of, new planter models to launch of a brand new combine, totally reworked basically from the ground up. A new sprayer last year or 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Give her a new subcompact.
New subcompact tractor.
All the way across the board.
We've got all across the board. I mean, we're in this and really working to make sure that we give our growers what they need, and can really do what they do in the field, do it as quickly as they can, and I think most importantly then, make sure they can get back home to their families, enjoy life, and enjoy what they do. And I think Case IH does that. So
I'm partial. I'm partial to Chrissy, and we've been around each other a long time, and this is the part I talked about it last time we recorded this podcast. The people is what makes this industry what it is.
It is.
And I got 2 fine ones on here with us today, and I'm hate to take away their time, and they're fixing to have to get out the door. They go take care of some customers tonight on this combine deal, but just having the opportunity for them to come out and sit down and talk with us is it's just remarkable to always talk about ag and do it with people you enjoy doing it. And we've got some of the finest people in the world in our industry, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
Proud for them as well.
Yeah, we really appreciate both of your time on here today, and thanks for imparting your knowledge and just sharing with us all the innovation that's happening at Case AF, and really is a great company with a lot of great new products that are really looking to further the farmer with their innovations and technology.
You bet. And I would be, remiss not to mention, of course, probably the most important entity of all of this is our dealer network. And I think, if you look at what makes us the most successful, we can build the best product in the world. We can get it out there and it can perform, but we know that it's man-made, and unfortunately there's going to be problems in our network of dealers that we have, the support that are the face basically of our company to our farmer customers is really, really important, and they do a remarkable job. And we wouldn't be successful with this combine if it wasn't for them, because, like I said, they're the face. I don't call Ryan Call when I have a combine problem. I call Russ at my dealership in Waverly, Iowa, to help me fix my machine, and that's what's going to keep me up and working and running. So, remiss not to mention, of course, the dealership network, and that's another thing to be really excited about and proud of, I think, from Case AF standpoint.
Yeah, I think that, to me, one of the best parts of Case AF, for instance, in our geography, is Mike Galloway, which is a service tech manager, I think, for H&R, and his product knowledge and ability to fix problems are really key to any business, any farm, and y'all's corporate business as well.
Oh, for sure. So. Yeah. And the creativeness sometimes of those guys is really good.
It takes to keep it running.
Yeah, just get it running. Yeah. Somebody get me some duct tape. Yeah, all right, here we go. Yeah.
Duct tape and baling wire goes a long ways.
Well, thanks for joining us on the Agriculture Podcast, and like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate you guys joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, guys. See you next time.
Thanks.